Good morning, everyone. If this is your first time watching, my name is Jennifer, and today I have a really important topic to talk to you about. So, yesterday I asked you what you wanted to hear from me, and I got some really great answers back. The one that I decided to talk about today is the question was how to stay positive when your friends are facing dire circumstances. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm also going to be talking about just in general how to stay positive during tough situations. And then the other two questions that I got that I love as well, I won't be going over today, but I'm going to save them for my video for next week. And those two questions were how to create a full-time business while working, how to create your own business while working a full-time job, and then also what to do if your friends are like not really supportive of your business. So I'll be sharing both of those next week. Elkie says, hi Jennifer. Hi, how are you? So let's jump into this. So as I said, the specific question was how to stay positive when your friends are facing dire circumstances. And first I just want to explain like why it's a little different for me at least, if it's your friend or if it's yourself, and then I'll share how you can stay positive in both situations. So for me, and I can't speak for everyone on this, but for me, I am like very empathetic. I'm a very empathetic person. So when someone else is feeling something, I often feel those same feelings as well, which for me makes it more difficult when someone I'm close to is dealing with something than for when I'm dealing with something. So for example, if I'm dealing with something, I'm just like, it's okay, I can get through this. Where if someone else is dealing with something, I just like feel so bad, like I don't want them to have to deal with this. And a perfect example that I can share to kind of explain this is a few months ago, my grandpa had like a scare. He had something going on, he had to get some tests, but before we knew what was going on, like it was affecting me because I, don't want to lose him. So that was happening. But then once I started thinking about it, I was thinking about him and like how he would feel. And like that would be really scary if I was him, right? So then I was feeling like my own scaredness, I guess, of not wanting to lose him, plus feeling bad that he was going through that. And then on top of that, I was getting all of this information from my mom too, right? So on top of those two things, then I was also talking to her, and I started thinking, like, what is she going through? Because, like, he's my grandpa. Of course I care about him, but he's her dad. And then I started thinking about my own dad. Like, so she's going through a lot, too. So it's, like, everyone, it was a lot. Like, if it was just me, it would be totally different. But I was dealing with, like, my own feelings, my mom's feelings, his feelings. So it was even worse. So for, like, another example, where it was just me, I'm very lucky that I haven't had to deal with like any life or death circumstances, so I can't really speak from someone in that position. But for example, like when I got in my car accident, it wasn't terribly hard on me. Like, yeah, it was scary, all of those things like I told in my car, but it, like I said, it wasn't as terrible on me, where like I think about my parents and I can see it being harder on them than it was for me, because it wasn't them going through it, but they were thinking about me and like all the things that I was going through, and that they couldn't be there because they lived 3 hours away and all of this stuff. So I can see how it's even more difficult when someone you're close to is going through something than when you're going through it yourself. But either way, I'm going to share with you tips on how to stay positive in both situations, and hopefully this will help you. So the first thing that I always want to say is like, it can be really difficult, but if you're going through a really hard time, like try really hard to find something positive. Just look at something. You can at least find one thing no matter what. And sometimes it's really hard to find, because when you're really like something really bad is happening, it's going to consume your thoughts. Like that's all you're going to think about. But like one thing to help with this is just take a step back and find all the good things that are happening in your life, because there are going to be some, and it might be hard to think about, but you can find something. So that's one thing that you can do, is just try to find all the things that are positive in your life. And the second thing is like make it a point to find things you're grateful for, because if it's someone else that is going through a hard time, you can just be grateful that you have your health or you have your family. If it's yourself, like you might be going through a hard time, but there are going to be good things in your life too that you can be grateful for at this time. So you just every day find good things, and that's going to help take away a little of the pressure from the bad things that are going on. The second thing that is helpful is to continue taking care of yourself. So this is something that I struggle with, like even if it's not a terribly bad or anything like that. If I am going through a hard time, I used to like just stop taking care of myself. Like sometimes you go down that path, like, well, this is so bad, like I don't want to deal with it, like everything's bad, what's the point anyways, right? So sometimes I would just like stop eating, which is not healthy, or like eat really bad, which is not healthy. So like make it a point, even if you don't want to, like take care of yourself. Make sure you're getting sleep, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're eating healthy and eating in general. And maybe like do some meditation, calm your thoughts, calm everything down. This is the key thing, because it's so easy when all this other stuff is going on to drop your own needs, right? So like you might, if your friend is sick or something like that, you might just always want to cater to your friend. But if you give too much of yourself, you're not going to be able to benefit them anymore, because you're going to burn yourself out. So you really need to just make sure you're keeping yourself in mind, taking care of yourself. And especially like the exercise thing, if you want to feel happier when bad things are happening, exercise like chemically makes you happier, releases your happy hormones. So like make sure you're taking the time to take care of yourself. That's like the biggest recommendation that I can make. So 3, sorry, I can count. So number 3 is like make sure you're taking time out to do things that make you laugh or make you happy or calm you down or something like that. And I know this can be difficult, especially if it's not you going through the hard time, but it's someone else. You might feel guilty, like going out and doing something fun, or like enjoying your time when like they're dealing with something. And it can be really hard, but it's so important to take those breaks. And if you can take that person with you, then that's even better, because they're getting a break too. So either like watch a funny movie, go hang out with your friends, go out in nature, go for a hike, do something that makes you happy, it will calm you down and make you laugh. Like that's so important, because you have to be able to find those positive times. Like I know it's very difficult, but you have to be able to do that. Craig says morning. That's my dad. Good morning. So those are all the tips that I have. And like I said, it's very difficult when you're going through this situation to want to do these things. Just make it a point to do them, and you'll start to feel better. And once you find one thing that's positive that's going on during these hard times, once you find one thing that you're grateful for, it's going to change your mindset, right? So you're going to start seeing more things. Like maybe your friend is, like I said, maybe your friend is really sick, or maybe you're really sick, but you still have a great family to be around you. You still have people to like help you. Maybe you're grateful that you have the doctors there to help, or and there's tons of things that you can be grateful for. So that will just help you to start changing your mindset. Susie says good morning. Good morning, Susie. And the other strong point I want to make is that all of these things that I'm talking about are not meant to cover up your emotions, right? Laura, that's my mom. Good morning from Kentucky. Good morning. Wish I was in Kentucky, but I actually don't, because it's so nice out here today. So the next point I want to make is like these things are not meant to cover up your emotions or push things down. These things are to help you. They are meant to like kind of distract you. They're there to help you stay positive, stay healthy, right? So the other point I want to make is make sure you're taking time to actually sit with your emotions and feel what's going on, right? So if you're scared, or if you're really upset that this stuff is happening, you're angry, don't push that down. So I'm not telling you to pretend that everything is fine. That's not what I'm saying at all. You need to feel the emotions and go there and go to that place, because if you push it down, it's not going to go away. And I have a great example of this myself. So I used to get like really bad anxiety attacks at night, and sometimes I would push them down because I didn't want to go to that place. So, like I would just like push them down, and they would last forever. But if I would let myself go there And it's not fun. I tell you, it's not fun. So I would go there and I would like start hyperventilating and go into that place and like have a really hard time. But 2 minutes later, I was done because I went there, I felt it, and it went away. You have to feel an emotion for it to go out of you. Otherwise, it's just going to stay there dormant and it's going to make you miserable. So you have to find time to break down and cry for a little bit. You have to have time to be angry at the world. But once you feel that, let it go. And if you have questions about that, please comment because it's really hard. And I know that we're kind of taught in our society, you need to be strong. You need to hold yourself together. You need to keep it together for everyone around you. And that might be true, but you also need to feel your emotions. They're here to protect us. That's why we have them. They're not useless. You need to feel them. And it's actually, I think it's even stronger when you go to that place and deal with it and then let it go. So that's just the big point that I want to make. I don't want to tell you, like, I don't want you to think that you should just be going out and watching funny movies and pretending nothing's happening, because that's not going to help you. That might make it worse. So definitely feel it, but also make sure that you're looking for the positives in your life. You're being grateful and you're taking care of yourself. Elkie says, yes. I'm so glad that this is resonating with you. And I really hope that this is like helpful, because it can be a really touchy subject, especially when we're talking about people getting sick. Or another example is like when I'm talking about going to that emotion. So one example that I can share is like dealing with breakups, right? So if you think about someone who breaks up with someone or gets divorced, at first you might hear, or yourself, you might just like start bashing the other person, like they're a terrible person, they were always mean to me, all of these things, all these bad things. Like you might be angry, but like it's okay to just admit the fact that you're upset. Like it's okay to be upset even if they were a bad person or something like that. It's okay to be upset. Feel it and then just let it go. It's so much harder to just like keep those emotions and pretend you're not upset. So like I said, I hope this is helpful. I hope it helps at least one person. And if you have any questions, comment, send me a message if you're not comfortable commenting. If you need support, you can also message me. I would love to be there for you if you don't have that. If you do, like, make sure you're spending time with your family and your friends during these times, because it's really hard to do it alone. So, like I said, hope this is helpful. Next week, I'll be sharing my answers to the other 2 questions, which were how to build a business while working a full-time job, and also how to deal with friends that aren't necessarily supportive of your new business. So, again, I hope you have a great day, and I hope this is helpful.